We can have the best video in the world and still get 0 views. Not because the content is bad, but because nobody clicked on it in the first place. But there's an actual psychology behind why some videos get clicked on and others get scrolled right past. And the best guys in the space know exactly how to use it on every single video they post. And in this video I'm going to break down why packaging matters more than you think, the exact formulas for titles that get clicked on, and the psychology behind thumbnails that stop people mid-scroll. By the end of this video you'll know exactly why your videos keep getting skipped and exactly how to fix it. As you can see, I split this video into 3 different sections, so let's start with the first one, and it is why packaging matters. And you need to know that you're competing with the biggest channels on the platform and they're spending shit ton of money on packaging, trust me. So let's take a look at him and himself. As you can see, he made 34 changes for this video right here, including thumbnails and titles themselves, so the whole packaging. And from right here we can see that he changed around 1 thumbnail, 2 thumbnails and all of that. And like for the titles, you can see we have so much changes. It is super crazy. And for this video right here, as you can see, he created 44 changes, and this is title only. He kept the same exact packaging, but he changed his title 44 times, which is absolutely crazy. But that's again the reason why he's one of the leaders on the YouTube and the whole industry right now. And you can literally give away the greatest value. You can have the best scripts, the best editing in the world. You can even give money away for free, but none of it matters if nobody clicks on your video or when your packaging is trash. And here is exactly how it would look like. You can have the great video but bad packaging, and it is going to end right here in the bin where it actually deserves to end. There are actually a lot of business owners that are really stressing about the editing and all those stuff, or they're just coming up with the thumbnails in the few seconds before they upload the video, and that's pretty much it. There are some of them that just take like screenshot from the video itself, upload it on YouTube and call it a thumbnail. That's pretty much it. And then they're like, okay, YouTube is not working, blah blah blah, it's trash, I'm going to go to ads and spend shit ton of money and all those stuff. And that's totally wrong mindset, and that's the reason why you need to focus on the packaging as well as idea and all those stuff. And the packaging is actually 80% psychology and only 20% of the design itself, because this is not an art project, it's a strategic decision. We need to influence people on psychological level and not just make thumbnails look pretty and all those stuff, because if our thumbnail looks pretty but it doesn't tell anything to the viewer, it doesn't spark curiosity or something like that, nobody's going to click on it. Still, they're just going to be like, okay, this thumbnail is pretty cool, but I'm not going to click on it because why it matters. That's pretty much it. And with that being said, YouTube traffic comes from 3 sources. We have search, we have browse, and we have suggested tab, and each source has its own CTR. And if you have bad CTR in one source, YouTube is just going to completely stop pushing you there. But if you have good CTR in some another source, YouTube is going to continue pushing you in there. So it really matters where your CTR is the highest, in which source. So YouTube is going to keep pushing you there. So it can be, as we already said, either search, browse, or a suggested tab. And you need to keep in mind that you need to design your thumbnails for the traffic source you actually want views from. And the quick note is that the homepage is where the fast views live, and they're going to be again from a lot qualified people, but again there's going to be a lot of unqualified audience. It is also the most competitive source. You're literally just competing with the best guys in the space, like as I already said, Gadget and all those guys. So it takes a lot more strategy and more design skill to win in there. And please remember that bad packaging can wipe out your distribution entirely, and it can literally throw off hours you put in the video itself, maybe even months, just because your packaging is bad and nobody clicked on the video. And by the way, if you want me to handle your entire YouTube strategy and help you get 10 to 30 qualified booked calls from it, click the first link in the description, book a free strategy call with me. Also make sure to grab the titles and thumbnails file in the description so you can start getting more clicks on your very next uploads. And with that being said, we can finally move on to the section number 2, which I call the subtle art of titles. So title actually needs to do only 2 things: tell people what the video is about and make them click. And the only way the title is going to make people click is if it sparks enough curiosity just by reading title itself. And the most important part of the title needs to be written in the first 55 characters, because that's all that shows on mobile before it gets cut off. So here's the example for the title: I study 10,000 LinkedIn posts. Here's what gets engagement in 2026. And as we can see, the main text is shown in the first 55 characters right here, and the only thing that is cut off is this part right here in 2026, but we still got a point to the video itself and what this video is actually about. So there are actually two types of titles. First, we have searchable titles. They're front loaded with the exact keywords our ICP is going to search into YouTube. For example, how to actually script a YouTube video that books calls, 55 characters long. Then we have how to come up with YouTube video ideas that book calls, again 55 characters long, which is actually perfect. And then we have the second type of titles, which are curiosity titles, and these are the titles that are built to grab attention on the browse feed itself, even if nobody is searching that exact phrase. And for example, we have I studied 10,000 LinkedIn posts, here's what gets engaged in 2026, 68 characters long, and we have I sent 1.5 million cold emails last month, here's what works in 2026, again 66 characters long, which is totally okay, because the most important things is actually at the 55 characters mark. You also need to match the title to the actual funnel level the video is on. So for the TOEFL, we have something like use specific numbers and real outcomes. This is where curiosity titles live. They are built to stop the scroll even when nobody is searching that phrase. But again, this is also where some action-based videos can live, like this one, for example, which is like how to do something. We have this one right here, how to come up with YouTube videos that book calls and all those stuff. So there's different variety for each of these stages of the funnel, of course. But if you want some evergreen videos that are going to be maybe more broadly appealing, that are not exactly action-based, then you should be aiming for something like curiosity titles and all those stuff. Then moving on, we have the middle of the funnel videos. They're leading with authority and depth, phrases like the complete breakdown and everything you need to know about, etc., etc. Again, because at the middle of the funnel videos, you're literally setting yourself up as an authority and somebody people can trust. So that's the reason why you should be leading with some of these words approximately. And the last one is actually bottom of the funnel, and you just need to lead with the result and the proof itself, specific numbers, time frames, and case study language. That's pretty much it. For example, how this student went from making $0 an hour to making $100,000 per month, or I don't know, $1,000 per hour, something like that. You get the point. You can always add something like in 30 days or etc., etc. I'm going to show you one of the best formulas that you can use to create super good titles, and this is the Alex Hormozzi's value of equation formula. So as you can see, it consists of dream outcome, then we have perceived likelihood of achievement, time delay, and effort and sacrifice, and it gives the value itself. And you need to aim the dream outcome should be higher, perceived likelihood of achievement again higher, where these things right here should be lower. For example, dream outcome is like how to get unlimited clients. I'm just giving examples right here. Then we're moving on to the perceived likelihood of achievement. You need to tell them how likely is that for them to succeed in it. Then time delay should be lower, so it can be something like fast or something that's in titles. And also we have effort and sacrifice. It can be like the laziest way to do something, the easiest way, and all those stuff. So yeah, you need just to craft titles based on this, and also make sure not to sacrifice the length of the titles because of this and the actual structure of the titles. So most of the times you try to incorporate at least 2 of these things maximum, but when there is room for me to incorporate 3 or 4 things of this formula, I'm going to try and incorporate it, but the title still needs to make sense, and that's pretty much it. That's how you should be aiming for while creating these titles. So with that being said, we can finally move on to the last section, and the last section is the subtle art of thumbnails themselves. And every thumbnail gets judged against 3 things. First one is attention. Does it grab the eye before anyone even processes what it means? This is instinctive, colors, contrast, the face with real emotion, and all those stuff. You just need to grab the attention. Then we're moving on, we have the relevance itself. Does it actually connect to what your ICP cares about? And you need to keep in mind to design your thumbnails based from the POV of your audience, not your own POV. And you can win the attention and still miss if it's not relevant. So you really need to put yourself in the shoes of your audience while creating the thumbnail itself. You cannot put some complex topics or something like that your audience maybe doesn't know even about. Depends again on which awareness level you're creating the video for and all those stuff. So you need to keep all those things in mind, and you need to put yourself in the shoes of your actual ICP. And the last thing that gets judged the most is the intrigue itself. Once you've got attention and relevance, does it create enough curiosity that they have to click to resolve it? And if your thumbnail doesn't hit all of these 3, it is not ready to publish yet. But don't worry, because a good thumbnail only comes down to the 4 actual things. The first one is that your face should be taking up 30 to 40% of the frame itself, showing real emotion that matches the video itself. Again, don't overexpress and don't make Mr. Beast facial expressions or something like that. It's totally stupid, especially if you're in B2B. If you're B2C, sometimes it can work, but yeah, just avoid doing that because you're not in the entertainment niche. Moving on, the second thing is 4 words or less. Title is already doing the heavy lifting. Thumbnail needs to add up to the title and just not repeat it. This is one of the most common mistakes that people genuinely make. Moving on to number 3, you need to include logos that your audience recognizes because it builds instant credibility because of the familiarity itself. Examples: Stripe, Calendly, YouTube, Instagram, etc., etc. And on the number 4, we have bright, contrasting colors. Dark backgrounds get buried on the homepage because 80% of the people use YouTube in the dark mode. So you need to create thumbnails that are going to be on the brighter side. And when I say it, I don't mean that you need to have like completely white backgrounds and all those stuff. You just need to go for the brighter colors, and that's pretty much it. So with that being said, let's move on to the section that I called Fast Tips, Big Results. First one is the A/B testing. Don't rely on one packaging. You can test up to 3 versions on every single video itself. So as you can see it right here, A, B, and C. Sometimes there can be like small tweaks, sometimes totally different packaging. You can see from my video right here, which is the video about the ideas. We have these two, which are pretty similar, just the color is the change and all those stuff, while this thumbnail right here is completely different thumbnail. And this is actually what the top of the guys do, as you already saw from the Iman himself. Moving on, we have reducing the noise level. It should be in the low level, as you can see right here. You need to strip out anything in the frame that's competing for attention. If it's not doing work, it's in the way. And here, actual example of noisy thumbnail right here. You can see everything is just battling for attention. We can see these two guys, which are like pretty much melting in the background. Then we have this blue color right here, which looks super messy. This arrow right here, which makes sense and I get it, but again, super messy, as well as this much text right here. These like bills right here, it's just super messy, and these guys are not coming out to the front as they should be. The spotlight isn't on them, especially since this is the client interview. These guys should be like in the main frame, while on the other side we have the client interview, in which we can see the focus thumbnails. We have two guys clearly right here, and just text that needs to be here, which is from $0 to 30k a month, and that's pretty much it. No other noise and all those stuff. And this is actually perfect thumbnail for the client interview, for example. Moving on, we have the colors themselves, because you need to use one consistent accent color across your thumbnails. It becomes part of your brand. People recognize it before they even recognize your face. And we can see it right here. This guy uses the pink color as his main color right here. You can see everything is in pink. Pink, everything that needs to be on accent. Everything that needs to be on accent, as you can see right here. Then again, here's his lips are pink right here. We have this right here, this and all those stuff. Moving on, we have the positioning itself, and where you place yourself actually matters. Left, right, center, pick on purpose instead of defaulting just to center every single time. And for example, if you're still picking the center, your eyes should be somewhere right here. And these lines right here are actually called the rule of thirds. Also, if you want to place yourself on the left or the right side, you should aim to be right here or right here, where these lines actually meet, because this is naturally going to grab attention to the audience. Look in here and in here, and that's pretty much it, because again, I didn't come up with this is just the rule of the thirds. Moving on, we have sizing itself. Keep elements sized on purpose. If you have to shrink something to squeeze it in, ask if it should even be there at all. And for example, right here we can see this video in here, and this is super small. This is very seeable, especially when you look at this thumbnail from this far, and you should be wondering, okay, should even place this in here, and you can totally remove it and just keep this part right here, maybe upscale this part even or something like that, just to match the size of all of these text right here. And moving on, we have arrows themselves, literal arrow or figurative one. Either way, you're telling someone where to look, which is super important. And here are two examples of literal arrows, as you can see right here and right here. And here are two examples of figurative arrows right here. As you can see, these guys are looking all at him. He's looking in there, so this is the center point, this right here, and right here it is more obvious. As you can see, every knight and every hand is pointing to Julius Caesar. Like, these lines are naturally guiding our eyes where we should look at, and in this moment it is Julius Caesar. Right here we have the Aaron Fox and the fraud. Right here we have from 0 booked calls to the actual laptop that contains calendar full of booked calls, and in here we have from 1k views to making shit ton of money. So now I'm going to show you the differences between good thumbnails and bad thumbnails. So let's start with these two first. As you can see on the left side, we have this guy clearly centered, pretty good lighting. Again, behind him is like the whiteboard or something like that. So this video is going to stand out on the YouTube itself, and it is probably related to something in the video itself that his audience already understands. Then we have 3 words: money loves speed, which is perfect. And on the other side, we have this guy guy in the car. And when I first saw this thumbnail, I was like, okay, this may be some late night drive, late night talk, I don't know. But this is actually like my story video, which just completely threw me off guard. And I was like, okay, what the fuck is this? This thumbnail is pretty dark. It doesn't make any sense with the title itself. So yeah, I was like, okay, why would anybody click on it if it appears and it actually competes with other videos? For example, this video right here, or maybe Iman Gadget's video and all those videos, you know. Then moving on, we have these two thumbnails again. This is me right here. As you can see, white background, so I'm going to stand out on the YouTube. You can clearly see me. You can clearly see that the video is about ideas and I'm revealing something, and I'm actually in that video revealing 3 different methods. Then on the right side, again, we have this video which was like how to land a high-ticket sales job or something like that. And again, this thumbnail is like white. It is going to definitely stand out. But it again just doesn't make too much sense, especially since people that are doing these types of video have amazing thumbnails, and this video is just going to, maybe it even contains a lot more value than the other videos, but people are naturally going to be like, okay, like this is maybe some low effort, I'm going to watch this video instead because it just draws more attention, and that's pretty much it. So, and we can see this guy again just right here. We have this freedom thing right here, which again makes sense for the video, but the thumbnail is super cheap, and it's literally a screenshot from the video itself. And we have the activate windows right here, which is pretty interesting. And now I just want to show you how these thumbnails actually would look like on the feed itself. As you can see, this thumbnail is clearly visible, this thumbnail too. This thumbnail is visible again. It looks pretty cheap compared to the others. I totally forgot about this one. I didn't see it, but it is right here. This thumbnail again is pretty visible, and that's pretty much it. And that's the differences between all of them. So right now I just want to show you how I actually come up with the packaging ideas for my own videos. I'm going to show you my process, and it consists of going through Twitter itself. Then I have like my vault of the thumbnails that I collected over time, because when I run on the thumbnails that I actually love, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to take it and I'm going to put it in my vault, so it is going to come up with for the inspiration later. And also I'm going to show you like how I come up with the final packaging for each of my videos, like how my Notion looks like, and that whole progression from one of my previous videos. Let's get straight into it. And first thing is actual Twitter. So as you can see, I'm on Twitter right now, and this is how it looks like, and I'm going to refresh it briefly. And I follow a lot of thumbnail designers, so you know. And right here, like every day I log on into the Twitter, I'm just going to go through it. I'm going to be like, okay, this thumbnail right here is super interesting. I'm going to save it right here. And also another thing I'm going to do, I'm going to click that, add to folder I have for thumbnails for the hiring. Then we have these thumbnails right here. We have maybe some for the editing. Again, this is super interesting. I'm going to save it because it might help me if I decide to make a video like YouTube is a video game. Here are the exact steps, how to beat it, something like that, you know. Then we have these right here. I'm again going to save it if I like it. Moving on, let's see what we have more. This is the whole process I do for the Twitter itself, and this is where I get the most inspiration actually. So yeah, moving on, let's see what we have. All right. Then if I don't find anything, I'm just going to briefly refresh and see what comes up. Or I can go to some maybe thumbnail designer, for example, this guy, and I can literally go and check what he uploaded, what he's doing. Maybe I can get some inspiration and all those stuff. I hope that you get the point, and I use like Twitter mostly for the thumbnails, for coming up with the ideas themselves. And as you already saw, I have like my bookmarks like this right here. You can see, like, look at this crazy idea right here. Then we have this. We have all of these ideas which are absolutely crazy, as you can see. And this is actually how I create my vault for the thumbnails themselves, which I have. So I'm just going to move on to the Notion itself, and here are actually some of the creators I also took inspiration from, like for example Gosha. He has perfect thumbnails, like literally perfect. And I almost went for one of the ideas for this thumbnail right here, and that thumbnail was this right here of Daniel Dan. You can see he has like pretty crazy thumbnails. Then we have this guy right here, also some of the guys that I found on the YouTube that I fuck with, and that's pretty much it. This is pretty good thumbnail. The Iman uses the similar one. I also use Iman as well as this and all those stuff. So you can see Iman, and here are the list of the guys. You're going to have all of them listed again in the description, where there is the titles and thumbnail swipe file. These guys are also going to be in there. And also here's actually how it looked like for one of my previous videos regarding the whole packaging itself. The video was titled how to actually script YouTube video to get B2B clients. This was like the first title, like the prototype. Then you can see how I moved on with that, how I in the end came up with this one right here. Here are the ideas I had for the thumbnail themselves. First, it was something like this. Then I had something like this, which was like, oh, super cool for me. I want to place myself in here, place this like in the museum or something like that. Like the script is being protected and all those stuff. We have this right here. Then again, this is like my mockup, and this is in Serbian because I'm from Serbia and I write all these things in the Serbia. So yeah, in Serbian. So this is the first mockup I did in Paint. I always do it, and this is like the bigger cheat code, but because it really helps me visualize the thumbnail itself. And the first thing was like, I'm going to hold a script that is going to say like script that prints or the money script or something like that. Then I saw this, which was like, okay, this is fine, but this is more for the faceless channels. Then I found this thumbnail right here from Daniel Fazio, and I was like, okay, this can really print. I can literally place myself like right here, and here I can place some script, and the Stripe notification is like literally perfect, especially since the final title was how to actually script YouTube with the book's call. So this was like perfect fit. In the end, that is what I went for. As you can see, this was the final thumbnail itself. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy progression how everything goes, and this is what I do for every video. And as you can notice, I do all of this before even writing a word for a script. As you can see, script comes later, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, so now you know exactly why some videos get clicked on and others get scrolled right past. But to be honest with you, knowing the psychology behind good packaging and actually applying it to your own titles and thumbnails are two completely different things. So right now you really have only two options. First one is you can take everything you learned from this video and try to apply it to your titles and thumbnails yourself, or you can let me handle your entire YouTube strategy for you, packaging included of course, and help you add 10 to 30 qualified calls to YouTube in 90 days, with you only having to spend 30 minutes per week on recording, and that's pretty much it. And this is the exact same thing I did for my client Marco, and one video got him over 10,000 views and 170 plus qualified leads. As you can see right here, we can see the views, the subscribers, which are again vanity metrics, but the important thing is that 42% of them came from YouTube search itself. So it means this video was heavily SEO optimized. And here is his newsletter list, which got around 170 plus leads, and it just kept growing over time. And he upsold a lot of guys from this right here. You can actually see the client interview link is going to be in description. And if you pick the second option, click the first link in description and book a free strategy call with me. If you're not ready for that yet, go and watch the video that just appeared on your screen. In it, I show you how I build a business YouTube channel that is going to book me calls if I had to start completely from scratch. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.